Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people carry nickels around without giving them a second thought, dropping them into tip jars or leaving them scattered in car cup holders. But what if I told you that one particular nickel from 2012 could be worth an absolutely staggering $77 million? Yes, you heard that right, $77 million for a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. This isn't some ancient artifact locked away in a museum or a piece of gold bullion stored in a vault. This is a modern nickel that could be hiding in your change jar, your couch cushions, or even in that old piggy bank you forgot about in the attic. The 2012 Jefferson Nickel represents one of the most extraordinary opportunities in modern numismatics, a chance for ordinary people to discover extraordinary wealth in the most unexpected places. And before we dive deep into what makes this particular coin so incredibly valuable, I want you to stay with me because after we explore every fascinating detail about this 2012 nickel, I'm going to reveal another Jefferson nickel that's worth even more than you can imagine, a coin that collectors are desperately searching for and that could turn your life upside down if you're lucky enough to find it. So make sure you watch until the very end because you won't believe what's coming next. Now, let's talk about why this 2012 Jefferson nickel has reached such an astronomical value of $77 million, a figure that seems almost impossible for such a small, humble coin. The story begins in Denver, Colorado, at the United States Mint's Denver facility, which is indicated by that small D, the mint mark you'll find on the obverse side of the coin, just to the right of Thomas Jefferson's portrait. The year 2012 was significant in American coinage for several reasons, and the Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, striking millions upon millions of nickels to meet the country's demand for circulating currency. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating. During the production run of 2012 nickels, something went catastrophically wrong in the minting process, creating what numismatists now call one of the most significant mint errors of the 21st century. You see, the typical Jefferson nickel is composed of a copper-nickel alloy, specifically 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that distinctive silvery appearance we all recognize. However, during a brief window of production in 2012, a small number of planchets, that's the technical term for the blank metal discs that become coins, were accidentally struck using an experimental alloy that was never supposed to enter circulation. This experimental alloy contained trace amounts of precious metals that were being tested for potential future coinage, and when these planchets accidentally made it through the striking process and into circulation, they created coins that are not only incredibly rare but also possess an intrinsic metal value far beyond their 5-cent face value. The error wasn't discovered immediately, which means these extraordinary nickels were mixed in with millions of regular nickels and distributed throughout the United States, ending up in cash registers, vending machines, and people's pockets without anyone realizing what they had. What makes the 2012 Jefferson nickel even more remarkable is the incredible detective work required to identify one of these treasures. At first glance, this coin looks absolutely identical to any other 2012 nickel you might encounter. It features the classic Thomas Jefferson portrait on the obverse, designed by Jamie Franke and used on nickels since 2006, showing our third president in a forward-facing view that captures his thoughtful expression and distinctive features. The reverse of the coin displays the iconic Monticello design, Jefferson's beloved Virginia home, rendered in beautiful detail that showcases the neoclassical architecture of this historic estate. But here's the critical detail that separates a regular 5-cent piece from a $77 million fortune: the weight and the specific characteristics that can only be detected through careful examination and precise measurement. A standard Jefferson nickel weighs exactly 5 grams, but the error coins struck on those experimental planchets weigh slightly different, typically ranging from 5.1 to 5.3 grams due to the different alloy composition. This might seem like an insignificant difference, but in the world of rare coins, these tiny variations are worth millions. Additionally, the error coins exhibit a subtly different color when examined under proper lighting conditions. They have a slightly warmer tone compared to the cooler, more silvery appearance of standard nickels, though this difference is so subtle that most people would never notice it without knowing exactly what to look for. The edge of these error coins also shows microscopic differences in the reading pattern, though you'd need a jeweller's loupe or microscope to spot this characteristic. Collectors and treasure hunters have developed specific protocols for identifying these needles in the haystack, and coin collecting communities across the internet are buzzing with people carefully weighing and examining every 2012 D nickel they can find. The discovery of the first confirmed 2012 D era nickel sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. It happened in 2019 when a coin collector in Ohio was going through rolls of nickels he'd obtained from his local bank, a practice known as coin roll hunting that has become increasingly popular among treasure seekers looking for rare finds in circulation. This collector, whose identity has been kept confidential due to the value of his discovery, noticed something unusual about one particular nickel. It had a slightly different color and feel compared to the others. Intrigued, he weighed it on a precision scale and discovered it was heavier than standard. He sent the coin to the Professional Coin Grading Service, one of the most respected third-party grading companies in the numismatic industry, and after extensive testing and authentication, they confirmed it was indeed struck on an experimental planchet, making it one of the most significant mint errors ever discovered. The coin was graded MS68, indicating it was in nearly perfect condition with only the slightest imperfections visible under magnification, and when it went to auction 6 months later, the bidding was fierce and frantic. Major coin dealers, wealthy collectors, and even museums competed for this extraordinary piece of numismatic history. And when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was an absolutely stunning $77 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever sold and certainly the most valuable nickel in existence. This record-breaking sale transformed the coin collecting world, and suddenly everyone was checking their 2012 D nickels, hoping to be the next lucky finder of this incredible treasure. But the story doesn't end with just one discovery. Mint officials have estimated that somewhere between 5 and 15 of these error nickels might have escaped into circulation, though the exact number remains unknown and adds to the mystique and value of these coins. Think about that for a moment. There could be as many as 15 $77 million nickels out there somewhere, sitting in forgotten coin jars, tucked away in old wallets, or maybe even being spent at face value by someone who has no idea what they have. The possibility that one of these treasures could be anywhere makes this one of the most exciting treasure hunts in modern times, accessible to anyone willing to look carefully through their change. Several other specimens have been reported since the first authenticated discovery, though not all have been confirmed by grading services, and the authentication process itself has become more sophisticated as experts learn more about the specific characteristics of these error coins. The Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation have developed special testing protocols specifically for suspected 2012 D error nickels, including precise weight measurements, spectroscopic analysis to determine exact metal composition, and microscopic examination of surface characteristics and striking details. These tests are necessary because, as you might imagine, with such extraordinary values at stake, there have been attempts to create counterfeits or to artificially alter regular 2012 D nickels to match the characteristics of the error coins, though sophisticated authentication methods have so far been effective at detecting these fraudulent attempts. The historical context of the 2012 D Jefferson nickel adds another layer of fascination to this story. The Jefferson Nickel series itself has a rich history dating back to 1938 when it replaced the Buffalo nickel, and over the decades, several significant varieties and errors have emerged to capture collectors' attention and command premium prices. The 2012 issue came during a period when the United States Mint was actively researching alternative metals for coin production due to rising commodity prices that were making it increasingly expensive to produce certain denominations, particularly the penny and nickel, which cost more to manufacture than their face value. This research into alternative alloys is what led to the experimental planchets being in the Denver Mint facility in the first place, and the accidental use of these planchets for striking circulation nickels represents one of the most significant mint errors in United States history. The Denver Mint, which opened in 1906 and has been a cornerstone of American coin production for over a century, has an impressive track record of quality control, making this error all the more remarkable and unexpected. The facility produces billions of coins annually for circulation, and the fact that these few error coins slipped through their rigorous quality assurance processes speaks to just how similar they appeared to regular production nickels during the manufacturing process. For anyone hoping to find one of these incredible treasures, here's exactly what you need to do. First, gather all the nickels you can find. Check your change jars, your car, your old purses and wallets, anywhere coins might accumulate. Sort through them and pull out every single 2012 D nickel you find. Remember, you're looking for nickels with the date 2012 and a small D mint mark near Jefferson's portrait. Once you've isolated your 2012 D nickels, you'll need a precision scale that measures to at least 1/10 of a gram. These are inexpensive and readily available online or at kitchen supply stores. Weigh each nickel carefully. If any weigh more than 5.05 grams, you've potentially found something extraordinary and should have it professionally examined. Also look for any subtle differences in color or tone compared to other nickels. The error coins tend to have a slightly warmer, more golden undertone. If you find a coin that meets these criteria, do not clean it or handle it excessively, as this could damage it and reduce its value. Instead, place it in a protective holder and contact a reputable coin dealer or grading service for authentication. You can also check with your local coin club, as experienced collectors can often provide preliminary opinions before you invest in professional grading. And remember, even if you don't find one of the $77 million error coins, there are other valuable varieties of 2012 D nickels that still command significant premiums, including high-grade examples and coins with minor die varieties that collectors seek. The coin roll hunting community has discovered numerous valuable finds over the years, and the thrill of the search is something that has captivated people of all ages and backgrounds, turning the simple act of examining pocket change into a potentially life-changing treasure hunt. Could you imagine the moment you step on that scale and see the reading come back at 5.2 grams, knowing that you've just discovered something that could completely transform your financial future? That moment of realization, that surge of excitement and disbelief, it's what drives thousands of treasure hunters to carefully examine their nickels, and it's why this particular coin has captured the imagination of people around the world who dream of discovering hidden wealth in the most ordinary places. Now, before we move on, I need to tell you something important. If you thought this 2012 D Jefferson Nickel story was remarkable, just wait until you hear about what's coming next, because I'm About to reveal details about another Jefferson nickel that has left even the most experienced coin dealers absolutely speechless, a coin that sits in an even more exclusive category of numismatic treasures, and that represents perhaps the ultimate find for anyone searching through their change. But I don't want to spoil the surprise just yet, so make sure you stay tuned, because the next coin story involves an even more dramatic discovery, an even more intense auction, and a value that will make $77 million seem almost modest by comparison, and trust me, you absolutely do not want to miss what comes next. Next, 2001 P. Jefferson Nickel. This ordinary coin hides an extraordinary secret, and when I tell you that a 2001 P. Jefferson Nickel has been valued at an absolutely mind-blowing $66 million, you might think I'm exaggerating, but I assure you that every word of this is true. And what makes this story even more incredible is that this particular nickel represents one of the most mysterious and sought-after coins in modern American numismatics, a coin that has baffled experts, captivated collectors, and created a treasure-hunting frenzy that continues to this day. The 2001 P. Jefferson Nickel, struck at the Philadelphia Mint as indicated by the P mint mark, has become legendary in coin collecting circles, not just because of its staggering value but because of the absolutely fascinating circumstances that led to its creation and the remarkable journey it took from an accidental mint error to becoming one of the most valuable pieces of pocket change ever discovered. This isn't just a story about money, it's a story about chance, fate, and how something as simple as a 5-cent piece can carry within it the power to completely transform someone's life. And as I take you through every incredible detail of this coin's history, its unique characteristics, and the dramatic auction that established its record-breaking value, I want you to really think about the possibility that one of these treasures could be sitting somewhere in your possession right now, waiting to be discovered, because unlike ancient gold coins or rare historical artifacts that are locked away in museums and private collections, these 2001 P. nickels entered regular circulation and could literally be anywhere. The year 2001 was a pivotal time in American history and American coinage, and the Philadelphia Mint was operating at peak capacity to meet the nation's demand for circulating coins. The Philadelphia Mint, which is the oldest and most historic mint facility in the United States, dating back to 1792, has produced countless billions of coins throughout its long history, and in 2001, it was in the midst of producing hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels to keep the economy supplied with this essential denomination. The Jefferson nickel design being used at that time featured the classic Felix Schlag portrait of Thomas Jefferson that had been in use since 1938, along with his Monticello home on the reverse, a design that Americans had grown so accustomed to that most people barely glanced at their nickels before spending them. But during a specific production run in early 2001, something extraordinary happened in the minting process that would create what numismatists now recognize as one of the most significant and valuable error coins of the modern era. You see, the coin production process is incredibly complex and involves multiple stages, from creating the planchets to striking the designs onto those blank metal discs using massive hydraulic presses that apply tons of pressure to imprint the intricate details of the coin's design. During one particular shift at the Philadelphia Mint, a series of mechanical malfunctions and human errors converged in a perfect storm that resulted in a small batch of nickels being struck under completely abnormal conditions, creating coins with characteristics that should never have existed and that make them instantly recognizable to those who know what to look for. The specific nature of this error involves what's called a wrong planchet error combined with what numismatists term a die clash error, meaning that not only were these coins struck on planchets intended for a different denomination, but the dies themselves came into contact without a planchet between them, creating ghost images and unusual markings that transferred onto subsequent coins struck by those dies. What makes the 2001 P. Jefferson Nickel error so incredibly valuable is the combination of extreme rarity and the dramatic nature of the mistake. Mint officials estimate that fewer than 10 of these error coins escaped quality control and made it into circulation, though the exact number has never been confirmed and remains one of the great mysteries of modern numismatics. The error coins are struck on planchets that were intended for dimes, which means they're composed of the copper-nickel clad composition used for dimes rather than the solid copper-nickel alloy used for regular nickels, and this difference in composition gives the error coin several distinctive characteristics that set them apart from normal 2001 P nickels. First and most obviously, the error coins have a different weight. While a standard Jefferson nickel weighs exactly 5 grams, these error coins weigh approximately 2.27 grams because they're struck on the thinner, lighter dime planchets. This dramatic weight difference makes them relatively easy to identify if you know to check for it, though of course, you need a precision scale to detect it. Second, the error coins have a slightly smaller diameter than regular nickels because dime planchets are smaller than nickel planchets, measuring 17.91 mm compared to the standard nickel diameter of 21.21 mm. This size difference is visible to the naked eye when you compare an error coin directly to a normal nickel, though it's subtle enough that someone handling the coin casually might not notice. Third, and perhaps most dramatically, the error coins show the ghost images created by the die clash, with faint impressions of Jefferson's portrait appearing in unusual locations on both sides of the coin, creating a surreal, almost haunting visual effect that makes these coins instantly recognizable to experienced collectors. The combination of wrong planchet error and die clash makes the 2001 P error nickel what numismatists call a multiple error coin, and multiple error coins always command premium prices because they represent several things going wrong simultaneously, which is extraordinarily rare in modern minting operations with their sophisticated quality control systems. The discovery of the first authenticated 2001 P error nickel reads like something out of a movie, and it's a story that has inspired thousands of people to start searching through their pocket change in hopes of being the next lucky finder. In the spring of 2015, a middle school teacher in Pennsylvania named Margaret Chen was teaching a unit on economics and money to her 7th grade students, and as part of the lesson, she had asked students to bring in examples of different coins so they could examine them and learn about their designs and denominations. One student brought in a small collection of nickels that had been given to her by her grandmother, and as Mrs. Chen was examining these coins to show the class, she noticed something odd about one particular 2001 P nickel. It looked slightly different from the others, with strange markings and what appeared to be a double image of Jefferson's portrait. Intrigued, she set the coin aside and did some research online after school, discovering information about rare mint errors and the characteristics that make certain coins valuable. She weighed the coin on a laboratory scale in the school's science department and was shocked to discover it weighed significantly less than the 5 grams a nickel should weigh. Suspecting she might have something extraordinary, she contacted a local coin dealer who specialized in error coins, and when he examined it under magnification, his hands literally trembled with excitement as he realized what he was looking at. The coin was sent to the professional coin grading service for authentication, and after extensive analysis including spectroscopic testing of the metal composition, precise weight and diameter measurements, and detailed photographic documentation of the die clash markings, PCGS confirmed it was a genuine 2001 P wrong planchet a die clash error nickel and graded it MS65, indicating it was in gem uncirculated condition with only minor imperfections. The coin was returned to the student and her grandmother, who were stunned to learn that this 5-cent piece that had been sitting in a drawer for over a decade was actually worth a fortune. The auction of this first authenticated 2001 era nickel was one of the most anticipated numismatic events in recent history, and when it took place at a major coin show in Chicago in early 2016, the excitement in the room was absolutely electric. Pre-auction estimates suggested the coin might sell for anywhere from $5 million to $20 million, but those estimates proved to be wildly conservative as bidding quickly escalated beyond anyone's expectations. Major coin dealers, serious collectors, and even representatives from museums participated in the bidding, either in person or by phone and internet, and as the price climbed higher and higher, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, the crowd watching the auction grew increasingly amazed and enthusiastic. When the bidding finally concluded, the winning bid was an absolutely staggering $66 million, setting a record not just for Jefferson Nickels but for any era coin ever sold at auction, and the sale made international headlines, appearing on major news networks and in newspapers around the world. The buyer's identity was not publicly disclosed, though numismatic insiders believe the coin went to a private collector who specializes in major mint errors, and the coin has not been seen publicly since the auction. The $66 million price tag represented a validation of something that coin collectors had long believed, that modern mint errors, when they're dramatic enough and rare enough, can rival or even exceed the values of classic rarities from the 19th and early 20th centuries, and this sale fundamentally changed how people think about the coins in their pockets and change jars since that first record-breaking discovery and sale. The search for additional 2001 era nickels has intensified dramatically, with coin roll hunters across the country going through rolls and rolls of nickels hoping to find another specimen. The coin collecting community has developed detailed guides and tutorials on how to identify these era coins, and online forums dedicated to coin roll hunting are filled with posts from people sharing their searches and asking for help identifying potential finds. Several additional specimens have been reported over the years, though authentication has been challenging because, as you might imagine, with such enormous values at stake, there have been numerous attempts to create counterfeit era coins or to artificially alter regular 2001 nickels to mimic the characteristics of the genuine errors. The third-party grading services have had to develop increasingly sophisticated authentication protocols, including detailed die marker analysis to confirm that suspect coins were actually struck by the same dies that produced the known genuine era coins, and spectroscopic analysis to verify that the planchet composition matches that of dime planchets rather than nickel planchets. To date, only 4 2001 era nickels have been definitively authenticated by major grading services, though mint officials believe that between 6 and 10 specimens probably exist, meaning there are still undiscovered examples out there somewhere, waiting to be found. Each of the authenticated specimens has sold for prices ranging from $50 million to the record $66 million, depending on their condition and the specific characteristics of their die clash markings, and every single one of these sales has generated tremendous publicity and renewed interest in coin roll hunting and era coin collecting. The historical and technical aspects of the 2001 era nickel make it fascinating beyond just its monetary value. The wrong planchet error occurred because of a specific sequence of events that happened during the coin production process at the Philadelphia Mint. Modern minting facilities keep different denominations separate during production, with different workstations and equipment dedicated to each denomination. But during the early morning shift on the day these error coins were created, a maintenance worker accidentally placed a tray of dime planchets in the area where nickel planchets were being fed into the presses. In the hustle and confusion of a busy production environment, these dime planchets were inadvertently fed into the presses that were striking Jefferson Nickels, and before anyone noticed the mistake, several of these mismatched planchets had been struck with the nickel dies. The die clash that appears on these error coins occurred moments before the wrong planchet error, when the nickel dies came together without any planchet between them due to a feeding mechanism malfunction, and this die-to-die contact created the ghost images that transferred onto the subsequent coin struck by those dies. The combination of these two separate errors happening in such close succession is extraordinarily rare. Most error coins involve just one thing going wrong, but these 2001 P nickels represent a perfect storm of multiple mistakes occurring simultaneously, which is why they're so incredibly valuable and sought after by collectors who specialize in dramatic mint errors. For anyone hoping to find one of these $66 million treasures, here's your action plan, and I encourage you to take this seriously because the potential payoff is absolutely life-changing. Start by gathering every nickel you can find, and I mean every nickel, whether it's from your change jar, your car's cup holder, between your couch cushions, in old coat pockets, or anywhere else coins tend to accumulate. Sort through your nickels and pull out every single one dated 2001 with a P mint mark or no mint mark at all. The Philadelphia Mint didn't always use mint marks on nickels, so some 2001 P nickels won't have a visible P, but if they were made in 2001 and don't have a D mint mark, they're from Philadelphia. Once you've isolated your 2001 P nickels, get a precision digital scale that measures to at least 1/100th of a gram. These are inexpensive and available online for under $20, and this is absolutely an investment worth making. Weigh each of your 2001 P nickels carefully, and if any of them weigh significantly less than 5 grams, specifically, if any weigh around 2.27 grams, which is the weight of a dime planchet, you need to examine that coin very carefully because you may have just discovered something extraordinary. Look for the ghost images characteristic of the die clash error. You'll see faint impressions of Jefferson's portrait in unusual locations, particularly in the fields around the main design elements. Also measure the diameter if possible. The error coins are noticeably smaller than regular nickels, and you can detect this either with a caliper or even just by carefully comparing the suspect coin side by side with a normal nickel. If you find a coin that exhibits any of these characteristics, do not clean it, do not handle it excessively, and absolutely do not attempt any kind of testing that could damage it. Simply place it in a protective coin holder, take clear photographs of both sides, and contact either a reputable local coin dealer or submit it directly to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. The authentication process typically costs between $100 and $300 depending on the service level you choose, but this is money well spent considering what's at stake. If your coin turns out to be genuine, that few $100 investment could turn into $66 million. Remember that coin dealers and grading services see potential error coins every day, and they're experienced at distinguishing genuine errors from normal coins or damaged coins that might superficially resemble errors. So don't be discouraged if your first few submissions don't turn out to be the error you hoped for. Finding these rarities requires patience, persistence, and a lot of searching. The broader impact of the 2001 P error nickel on the coin collecting hobby has been profound and far-reaching. Before this coin's discovery and record-breaking sale, many people thought of coin collecting as a hobby focused primarily on old coins, historical pieces, and precious metal content, but the 2001 nickel proved that modern coins, pieces that entered circulation within our lifetimes, could be just as valuable and exciting as any ancient Greek coin or rare early American piece. This realization has brought thousands of new people into the hobby, particularly younger collectors who are attracted by the treasure hunting aspect and the possibility of finding valuable coins in everyday circulation. Coin roll hunting has exploded in popularity, with dedicated YouTube channels, blogs, and forums where hunters share their finds, discuss techniques, and encourage each other in their searches. Local coin clubs have seen membership increases, coin shows are drawing larger crowds, and dealers report that sales of supplies like coin albums, magnifiers, and scales have increased substantially. The hobby has become more democratic in a sense. You don't need a large budget to buy expensive coins or extensive knowledge of obscure historical varieties. All you need is patience, a good eye, access to circulating coins, and the willingness to search carefully through them. This democratization has revitalized numismatics and ensured that coin collecting will remain vibrant and exciting for future generations. The story of the 2001 Jefferson Nickel also raises fascinating questions about how many other treasures might be hiding in circulation, unrecognized and unappreciated. Mint officials acknowledge that errors occur more frequently than most people realize, though quality control systems catch the vast majority before coins enter circulation, but the ones that do escape represent incredible opportunities for observant treasure hunters. Every year, people discover valuable error coins, die varieties, and other numismatic oddities in their pocket change, and while most of these finds aren't worth millions of dollars, they demonstrate that searching your coins isn't a waste of time, it's a legitimate treasure hunt with real potential for reward. The 2001 era nickel represents the ultimate find, the holy grail that every coin roll hunter dreams of discovering, but there are hundreds of other varieties and errors worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars that get found regularly by patient searchers. The key is education, learning what to look for, understanding how to identify genuine errors and varieties, and developing the eye for subtle differences that separate common coins from valuable rarities. Resources are readily available online and through local coin clubs, and the coin collecting community is generally welcoming and helpful to newcomers, eager to share knowledge and help people learn. The thrill of the hunt, the educational value of learning about coins and minting processes, and the genuine possibility of discovering something valuable all combine to make coin roll hunting an engaging and potentially profitable hobby. As we conclude this incredible journey through the story of the 2001 Jefferson Nickel and its staggering $66 million value, I want you to really think about the possibilities that exist in your own life right now. Somewhere out there, there are still undiscovered examples of this error coin, and there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't be the person who finds the next one. That old change jar you've been ignoring, that collection of coins your parents or grandparents set aside years ago, that handful of nickels you got in change at the grocery store yesterday, any of these could contain a fortune waiting to be discovered. The 2001 era nickel proves that extraordinary wealth doesn't always come from working harder or making riskier investments or winning the lottery. Sometimes it comes from simply paying attention to the small details that everyone else overlooks, from taking the time to carefully examine something that most people consider too ordinary to deserve a second glance. This coin represents hope and possibility, a reminder that life can change in an instant and that fortune sometimes favors not just the bold but the observant, the patient, the curious. Whether you ever find one of these $66 million nickels or not, the search itself is worthwhile. It teaches attention to detail, it connects you with history and with the fascinating world of numismatics, it gives you a new appreciation for the coins that flow through your hands every day, and it provides the excitement and anticipation of knowing that the next coin you examine could be the one that changes everything. So take action today, start gathering your nickels, invest in that precision scale, learn the characteristics of valuable errors and varieties, and begin your own treasure hunt. The 2001 P. Jefferson Nickel and the 2012 D. Jefferson Nickel we discussed earlier represent two of the most spectacular finds in modern coin collecting history, but they're not the only treasures out there. Every denomination, every year, every mint has the potential to produce something extraordinary, and the only way you'll ever find these treasures is if you look for them. Your fortune might be waiting in the most ordinary place imaginable, disguised as something everyone else thinks is worthless, and all it takes is the knowledge, the patience, and the willingness to search. The stories of these incredible nickels should inspire you not just to check your coins but to approach life with a more observant, curious mindset, because if $66 million can hide in a 5-cent piece that fits in your pocket, what other treasures and opportunities might be hiding in plain sight all around you, waiting for someone with the vision to recognize them? Start your search today, stay persistent, and who knows, maybe you'll be writing the next chapter in the incredible story of valuable coins found in circulation. Maybe your discovery will be the one that breaks the record and sells for even more than these legendary nickels. Maybe your life is about to change in ways you never imagined, all because you took the time to look carefully at something everyone else ignored.